What's going on, Pokemon fans? My name is Blaze, and today Pokemon Company dropped a deuce on everybody. Surprise Pokemon Sword and Shield trailer showing off some new Pokemon and showing off the Gigantamax Pokemon as well. So today's video I am kind of picking up the pieces of, because I filmed this video on Sunday to try and have a centralized location of all the Pokemon that we knew about in Pokemon Sword and Shield. And then this video dropped, and there are 4 new Pokemon that I need to add to the list. So I'm kind of re-recording and editing a couple of things here so I can get all the Pokemon in one place. But I do want to talk about all the Pokemon that we know about in the Galar region. So thanks for coming by today. We're going to get things started here with the new Pokemon. I'm not going to go too much in depth with these Pokemon because I think it's important just to have the list. I will go in depth with these Pokemon in a different video, but today I just want to have that list out for all the Pokemon that we know about in the Galar region. So, the first Pokemon that was revealed in the Nintendo, or I guess the Pokemon Sword and Shield trailer, this is the Gigantamax trailer. The first Pokemon that we saw, and I'll show that to you in just a second, the first Pokemon that we saw was right here. This is Alcremie, Fairy-type Pokemon, brand new to Pokemon Sword and Shield. I like this Pokemon a lot. I think it looks really cool. It's a little bit, what's the word? It's a food-based Pokemon, so, you know, whatever the case is, that's one of the newer Pokemon that was announced today, actually, July 8th. So, new Pokemon, brand new Pokemon, hot off the presses, Alcremie joins the roster for Pokemon Sword and Shield. The next Pokemon, I'm going to talk a little bit about this Pokemon later. I might talk about this Pokemon later because I talked about it earlier, and now it's officially been revealed. We've got the Pokemon Yamper. Super duper cute electric corgi Pokemon. He is awesome. His ball fetch ability is really cool too. But he's brand new to the Pokemon world. And I'm gonna go back a little bit so you guys can see Alcremie in action. So we've got Alcremie in the game right there. You get to see some of its actions and stuff. We've got Yamper, the super cute electric corgi Pokemon. We've also got Roly-Poly, a rock type Pokemon. I think he looks pretty cool. So he's brand new to the Pokemon world. And Duraludon. I missed that that typing. What is that typing? Steel Dragon? Yeah, Steel Dragon. So, Duraludon. So we also get a peek, an official confirmation of another Pokemon that's going to be in the game. And that Pokemon is Mimikyu. Mimikyu is also in the game. I'm going to mention this a little bit later on, as kind of a Pokemon that wasn't really confirmed, but Cerebi was reporting on this Pokemon being in the game. I hadn't seen it in the game until today, so now there's official confirmation. Cerebi is a very trusted source, so I will talk about some Pokemon that Cerebi has mentioned. So don't be surprised if you hear about that later on. There's just no video or photographic evidence of those Pokemon in the game, but Mimikyu was on that list, and he's now in the game. There's one more Pokemon that I didn't know about until today, which I don't think I mentioned it later on in the video, but I will show you the other Pokemon that is going to be in the game is Jangmo-O. He's going to be exclusive to Pokemon Shield with Dino. Axew and Gumi will be exclusive to Pokemon Shield, whereas, I'm sorry, these two will be exclusive to Pokemon Sword, my bad. Dino and Jangmo-O exclusive to Pokemon Sword, and Axew and Gumi exclusive to Pokemon Shield. So those are the new Pokemon that were shown off today. There's some other Pokemon, the Gigantamax Pokemon that were just revealed. Let me show you those too before I get too far into the video and forget about it. But this is the first Gigantamax Pokemon, Alcremie. Special situations, special Pokemon can actually do Gigantamax evolution. Under certain circumstances, and Alcremie is one of them. It looks like all of the new Pokemon, or maybe not all of them, but many of the new Pokemon are going to have special forms when they go into Dynamax mode. A little bit in a few seconds here, we're going to see Dreadnought, or Dreadnought, my bad. Dreadnought also has a special Gigantamax form, and Corviknight also has a Gigantamax form. So there's a lot of stuff that just came out in this trailer, and those are the first few things that we found, or that was revealed today. So, so that's basically the new stuff, and I wanted to cover that first because it's probably the most important. The rest of the video, I am going to talk about some of the Pokemon that have been known about for a while, that we saw in the Nintendo Directs, that we saw in the Treehouse event as well. So I'll be talking about that in just a second, but I did want to get those out of the way first because it's a brand new trailer that just dropped today, and I'll talk about some more stuff that was in that trailer a little bit later on in the week as well. So lots of new stuff for Pokemon, and that is the new stuff. So the first Pokemon reveal that we experienced was on February 27th in the Pokemon Direct, and the very first Pokemon that we see in Pokemon Sword and Shield is none other than your boy Pikachu. So he shows up as the first Pokemon in the trailer. Shortly after that, we also see this Pokemon, Minccino. So it's very safe to say that if we see these Pokemon in the game, it's very, very likely that their evolved forms or unevolved forms are also in the game. So, having said that, Pikachu, most likely Raichu is in the game, and we'll get to see that a little bit later. But we've got Minccino here, and it's extremely likely that Cinccino is also going to be in the game. Now, I may be saying that wrong, but that's how I'm saying it. So I guess you have to deal with it, I guess, if I'm mispronouncing that. But the next Pokemon that we see is very shortly after this. We see right here. I'm going to do a frame-by-frame analysis here because we've got Wishy-Washy down there in the corner. He only shows up for like half a second. Not even that. It's literally like 4 frames. That's it. 4 frames and we get to see Wishy-Washy. Not even 4 frames. Yeah, it's like 3 frames. So Wishy-Washy is the next Pokemon that is in Pokemon Sword and Shield. So there's some more coming up in about 5 seconds here. We'll see the next Pokemon. So here we've got Grubbin. Very safe to say that Charjabug and Vikavolt are also in the game. Grubbin makes an appearance in Pokemon Sword and Shield in the Galar Pokedex. Pretty excited for that. And we're going to see another Pokemon here in a few seconds with Hoothoot. So Hoothoot and of course Noctowl will also be in the game, most likely. The next Pokemon that we see is about a second later, and that Pokemon is Zweilous. I know I'm saying that wrong, but I think it's the Dragon Dark type Pokemon that's in the game. He has two. He has an unevolved form, Dino, and an evolution, Hydreigon. So all of those Pokemon are going to be in the game, Pokemon Sword and Shield, when it comes out. Right now, I'm trying to scroll through and see if I can find their types. I don't want to get that wrong. Yeah, so Dark Dragon is the type that we're looking at there, the type comparison. The next Pokemon that we see is about a second later, and that is, we see it for a split second with another Pokemon. This is Flygon. Very easy to assume that Vibrava is also going to be in the game. We've got Braviary in the background there, taking an attack from Flygon, but we're going to see Braviary, a closer look at Braviary very soon. So that's a kind of a grainy picture, but it's definitely Braviary. The next Pokemon we see is Wailmer, and we also get a glimpse of Meowstic. Yeah, so Meowstic and Wailmer are also in Pokemon Sword and Shield, which also means that Wailord and Esper will also make an appearance. I thought I saw Esper in one of these screenshots, and maybe I just totally missed it, or maybe I feel like maybe it was in the Treehouse event and maybe I missed it, but it's safe to say that Esper's in the game, and I think it was the Treehouse that I missed it. So I won't be able to show that one, but it's very safe to assume that it's in the game anyway. The next Pokemon that we see is Lucario. And of course, it's very easy to assume that Railu will also be in the game. Lucario here is doing an attack on none other than Tyranitar. And it's very safe to assume that Larvitar and Pupitar will also be in the game. And then the last Pokemon, I guess, non-Galar Pokemon that we see is Munchlax. And we're going to get a good look at Snorlax a little bit later on. But Munchlax is in the game, and Snorlax is also in the game as well. Now we also get a very, very good look at the starter Pokemon for Pokemon Sword and Shield. I'm going to skip to a certain point where we can see them a little bit more, I guess, in more detail. So here's all three Pokemon: Grookey, Scorbunny, and Sobble. And we're going to get an intro on all of these Pokemon as well as Grookey. We've got the Bunny Pokemon, Scorbunny, which I'm probably going to pick that one even though I really want Grookey. I think I'm going to end up picking Scorbunny. And of course Sobble. And that is all the Pokemon from the first reveal trailer for Pokemon Sword and Shield. Now we've got two more trailers or Pokemon Directs that came out. So Pokemon Direct in June is the next one we're going to look at, which also reveals 3 new Pokemon, actually 5 new Pokemon, actually 7 new Pokemon now I'm thinking about it. And we're going to go through all of those in just a second. So the first Pokemon that we see in that trailer is, well, it's a threefer. So we get Wooloo, which is the Pokemon right in the center. And then to the left, we've got Gossifleur and Dreadnought on the right. Or Dreadnought, sorry, Dreadnought on the right. These are brand new Pokemon. We also get a glimpse of the evolution for Gossifleur, so that'll be coming up a little bit later. You'll see that. And I will show off a little bit. Well, I may not be able to show off more of these Pokemon during this trailer, but I will show the evolution a little bit later. So the next Pokemon that we see is right here. Whoops, right there. Any second. Okay, hold on. So I had it queued up and everything, and then I guess it wouldn't let me click on it. But we've got Sawk. Sawk is the blue fighting type Pokemon. Although it's not confirmed, I think it's very safe to say that his counterpart will be in the game as well. His counterpart, of course, being Throh, the red fighting type Pokemon that had the gi on. He was a little bit chunkier than Sawk, but I think it's safe to say that both those Pokemon are going to be in. Now, it's not confirmed for Throh, so we know that Sawk is the only one for now. So take that with a grain of salt, but I think it's safe to say that, so we'll see. Of course, the other new Pokemon that came out at right here, this is Corviknight. This is a new, it looks like a dark type Pokemon. I don't know if there actually is a typing for it just yet. Let me see if there is anything for it. As of right now, it is showing as Flying and Steel. It is a Pokemon that will carry you back to any place that you've already visited. So I'm guessing in lieu of things like HMs like Fly, you'll be able to like interact with this Pokemon in a town, and it'll just take you back to whatever town you've previously been to. Kind of in the way I think that World of Warcraft did something like that, and probably a lot of MMOs also. But you'll be able to interact with this Pokemon and fly back to any town you've already visited. So that is Corviknight. The next Pokemon that we see is about 10 seconds later, and that one is about right here. So there we go. We've got 2 Pokemon on this one. We've got Beware, which pretty much guarantees that Stuffle will also be in the game. We're going to see Stuffle a little bit later. But over there on the side, we've also got Wobbuffet right here. So he's in the game. And Why Not is probably also going to be in the game. There's a whole slew of Pokemon that are shown off for just a few frames. So we're going to go frame by frame for the next few Pokemon. We've got Hippopotas, and his evolution's not shown, but most likely Hippowdon will also be in the game. We've also got... Any second now. Here it comes. There it is. So this is Snorunt, I believe. Let me double check that. I think I got that wrong. I think I maybe flipped a couple of Pokemon around. It's very hard for me to remember all of the Pokemon in the Pokemon world because there's 800 of them. This is not Snorunt though. This is Snover, and his evolution, Abomasnow, will most likely be in the game as well. I wrote down Snorunt, so that's why I got confused. But the next Pokemon is coming up very soon here. So we've got Rhydon, which basically confirms that Rhyhorn and Rhyperior will also be in the game. The next Pokemon that's shown, of course, there's Corviknight again. But here, I'm going to skip a few frames ahead. We've got, in the background here, we've got Ghastly, which we're going to see Haunter a little bit later. But also Gengar is most likely in the game too. On the far right, we've got Duskull, which pretty much confirms that Dusclops and Dusknoir will be in the game as well. Here we've got Golurk, and of course Golett, its unevolved form, will also be in the game. About a second later, we see Gyarados, and we also see Frillish right down here in the bottom. So, of course, Magikarp will be in the game. And then Frillish's evolution, Jellicent, will most likely also be in the game. We're also going to get a close-up look of a few Pokemon here. We've got Butterfree over here on the far right. We're going to see Metapod a little bit later on, but of course Caterpie will also be in the game. Over here in the middle, there's your Stuffle Pokemon, so of course we know that's going to be there. And then on the side here, we've got Bounsweet, and Bounsweet has two evolutions, Steenie and Serena, and those are most likely going to be in Pokemon Sword and Shield as well. We're also going to see the next Pokemon is Mudsdale, also indicating that Mudbray will most likely be in the game also. A couple frames later, we see Seismitoad walking around, which indicates to me that Palpitoad and Tympole will also be in the game. About a second later, there's Tyranitar again, but we're also going to see Avalugg, which indicates that Bergmite will probably also be in the game. Its unevolved form. There's a couple of real quick fire Pokemon here, so I'm kind of pausing it as soon as I have a chance. But here we've got Hawlucha. Kind of a crazy Pokemon to, if you've never seen this Pokemon before, I always got confused as to what type it was. It's fighting and flying, so just in case you're wondering, keep that in mind. I remember playing Pokemon Sun and Moon and just always having a really hard time figuring out what type that Pokemon was, and almost always getting it wrong. So that's just a quick hint for you. And then the next Pokemon that we see, there's a few Pokemon here. So we've got Milotic right there in the water, which of course confirms that Phoebus will be in the game. We've got Mantike right here coming up out of the water right in front of Milotic, and Mantine back here. So Mantike and Mantine. Nothing else to confirm there because they don't have an evolution as far as we know right now. So there may be, but it's not likely. Now, it's very possible that some of these Pokemon might have new evolutions that fit in with the Galar Pokedex, but as of right now, none of those have been announced, and we've also not seen any regional variants, which is kind of strange, but I'm guessing that we'll see some of that stuff very, very soon. The next Pokemon that we see is... Wait for it. Wait for it. I might have to skip here. Hold on. Yeah, I'll just skip. So right there, Raichu is the next Pokemon that we see. Of course, Pikachu's evolution. This also pretty much confirms that Pichu will be in the game as well. In some way, shape, or form, we'll see Pichu as well. And then the next Pokemon that we see is way over here at 249, 259. So we see the champion, the Galar region champion, and he brings out his Pokemon Charizard. So this pretty much confirms that Charmander and Charmeleon will also be in the game. I'm willing to bet that Squirtle and Bulbasaur and those evolutionary lines will also be there. I don't know why you'd have Charmander but not the others. So take that with a grain of salt. There's no confirmed Kanto starter inclusion in Pokemon Sword and Shield just yet, but we shall see. The next Pokemon that's not really shown off, but that we know is in the game, and we get to see its evolved form a little bit later. But that one is... right here we've got Diglett. There's a Diglett statue. Most of the time when you see a statue in Pokemon, it's because they built that statue because of the Pokemon that's in that area. So more than likely, Diglett's going to be in the game. Later on, we're going to see Dugtrio, so of course that's confirmation that Diglett's in the game, but that's the next Pokemon that we kind of saw, so I just want to point that out a little bit at least. Next up, we've got, and this is a few seconds back, so we've got Badoo, which means that Roselia and Roserade will also be in the game. We get confirmation on Steenie right here. I'm going to skip a few frames. Right here in the bottom left corner, we've got Steenie. The next Pokemon that's shown off is Wynot. Of course, Wobbuffet's unevolved form. We saw Wobbuffet earlier. And then the next Pokemon is about 4 seconds later. Let's give it a few seconds here to catch up. We've got Pancham. So Pancham is also going to be in the game with its evolution Pangoro, most likely. And then we get some more close-up information on the new Pokemon. So I'm going to skip to those real quick just to kind of show those off in more detail. Of course, I talked about them earlier, but here we've got the new Pokemon. We've got Wooloo. I wanted to call it something else for a second, so I had to double check my notes. But Wooloo, Gossifleur, and Dreadnought are the new Pokemon. And Dreadnought actually takes a bite out of another Pokemon here, so we're going to see this Pokemon, not that one. Any second now, we're going to see a new Pokemon. There it is. So this is Gigalith. Gigalith is is also included in the Pokemon Galar region. So it's safe to assume that Roggenrola and Boldore will also be in the game. The other new Pokemon they showed off is the evolved form of Gossifleur, and that's right here. This is Eldegoss, and the evolved form of Gossifleur, of course, as I mentioned a second ago. There's probably going to be a third form of this, but no word just yet. It looks like it's got seeds up in its head here, so I don't know what that means exactly, but I'm pretty sure that means that it's gonna have this like extravagant like plant life hair, most likely, if there is a third evolution. But that's just my theory. But we do have confirmation of an evolved form for Gossifleur, at least one. The next Pokemon that's shown off is shown off a little bit later, so we're looking at right here, Growlithe. Growlithe also indicates that Arcanine is in the game. Arcanine. We're going to see Arcanine a little bit later on, so that's confirmation. It's enough for me anyway. We also get to see Inkay, which indicates that Malamar is most likely in the game as well. And then the next Pokemon that we see is Axew, which also indicates that its evolutions Fracture and Haxorus will also be in the game. The next Pokemon that we see is not until about 40 seconds later. Snorlax. Of course, that's visual confirmation that Munchlax and Snorlax are both in the game. Obviously, they would be. Otherwise, I don't know why you'd include one without the other. Moving on. We've got Wingull, which I think is the first time we saw Wingull from Pokemon overall. And then a few seconds later, they show another Pokemon. This is kind of after a couple of rehashed clips. We get to see Steelix, which also indicates that Onix will be in the game. We see a more close-up shot here of Braviary, which is clear that that's Braviary, and Rufflet, its unevolved form, will also be in the game. And we don't see another new Pokemon for a little while, so I'm just going to skip all the way up to right here. Boom! Sneasel is the next Pokemon that we see, as confirmed for Pokemon Sword and Shield. That's not Sneasel, that's Weevil. Sorry, Weevil. And its unevolved form, Sneasel, will also be in the game, most likely. We also see a couple other Pokemon here. I'm going to skip forward a little bit because I know that they're not right back to back. We see Clefable, indicating that Clefairy and Cleffa will also be in the game. We see Dugtrio, as I mentioned a few seconds ago. Diglett was shown off in the statue form. And then the next one that we see is a water-type Pokemon, Quagsire, indicating to me that Wooper is also going to be in the game. So as far as the June 5th Direct, the only other Pokemon that they showed off were the legendary Pokemon, the cover, the cover legendary Pokemon, Zacian and Zamazenta. So those are the two legendary Pokemon that are going to be in Pokemon Sword and Shield. And that's all the Pokemon from the two Directs that Nintendo put out. There are more Pokemon in the Treehouse event, which I'll cover right now. The first Pokemon from the Treehouse event is Bunnelby. So we know Bunnelby and its evolution Diggersby, which we're going to see a little bit later on, will also be in Pokemon. The next Pokemon that we see is... You may have caught a glimpse of it here, but it is none other than Metapod, Caterpie's evolution, and the unevolved Butterfree. Of course, I mentioned Caterpie is probably going to be in the game, and this is, to me, it's pretty much confirmation. The next Pokemon that we see is off in the distance here, in the wild area. Once they get closer, did they just pass it? Maybe he just passed it. Where is it? He is going to come up to it right now. So Haunter is the next Pokemon that is in... Of course, I mentioned Haunter a second ago because Ghastly's in the game, and of course Gengar is probably going to be in the game too. So nothing to worry about there. A little bit later on, we have... One of my favorite Electric-type Pokemon is Galvantula, which also indicates to me that Joltik will probably be in the game as well. A few seconds later, we get a glimpse of Machop. There's also a Snorunt, or a Snover right here. So Machop is in the game, which we're going to see Machoke in a few minutes. But we also can assume that Machamp will be in the game as well. So let's go ahead and skip to Machoke real quick, because we already know that Snover's in the game. Here we've got Machoke, just walking around doing Machoke type things, looking like a human. Really, it's a little scary, but they actually showed off that he was a higher level than all the other Pokemon here, so it's possible to wander off into areas that have higher level Pokemon. I'll probably cover that in a different video for the wild area, but we do have Machoke. The next Pokemon we see is a little bit later on at the 11-minute mark. Here we've got the bicycle riding on the water, and there we've got Vanillite. And a little bit later on, in a couple of seconds, we're going to see Vanillux. There it is. Oh, did the wrong thing. So there's Vanillux. Real quick though, ask me if I'm a Vanillite or a Vanillux. Go ahead. Ask me. I'm Vanillish. Let's move on. It's pretty likely that Vanillish will also be in the game. The next Pokemon that we see is... Any second now. Goldeen. And it's safe to assume Seaking will be in the game too. And then much later on in the video, they take on a Dynamax Pokemon. And we can see a few Pokemon here. We've got confirmation of Arcanine in the middle here. We've also got Togekiss, which indicates that Togepi and Togetic will be in the game. And Ludicolo, which indicates that Lotad and Lombre will be in the game. Ludicolo, by the way, is my favorite Pokemon. I actually have the plush back here somewhere of him. He's over here. And he's my favorite Pokemon ever, so I really do like him a lot. And that's pretty much all the Pokemon that we have video evidence of. There are two Pokemon that we have photographic evidence of, which I'll cover at the very end. The next list of Pokemon have not been seen in Pokemon Sword and Shield, so if you don't want to know what they are, there's slight spoilers here. At the very end of the video, there'll be some bigger spoilers, so if you don't want to know, it's okay if you don't want to finish the video or whatever. But I will run down the list of Pokemon that Cerebi.net has confirmed to be in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Though I have not seen evidence of these Pokemon, they supposedly are in the game. So Cerebi is reporting that these Pokemon Trubbish, Garbodor, Bronzor, Bronzong, Drifloon, Drifblim, Combi, Vespiquen, Electrike, Manectric, Ralts, Kirlia, Gardevoir, and Gallade, Chinchou, Lantern, Eevee and all of its evolutions, Vulpix, Ninetales, Swirlix, Slurpuff, Gumi, Sliggoo, and Goodra, Noibat and Noivern, Wimpod, Golisopod, and Mimikyu. So they also have Mew as listed as a confirmed Pokemon for Pokemon Sword and Shield, but I don't really know where they got that or how they knew that. I have a theory that all of the Kanto Pokemon will make it back into Pokemon Sword and Shield, only because I think Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu gave them the character models they needed to make that happen. But we also know that only Pokemon that appear in Sword and Shield will be able to be transferred in from Pokemon Home. So that's kind of a hot topic right now and a point of contention among a lot of fans. But Mew being one of the first 151, it's likely that maybe that is a little bit of confirmation, not so much necessarily confirming it altogether, but it might mean that we get all of Kanto. We'll see on that. So as far as the new Pokemon, if you don't want to know what these are, feel free to leave the video. There's some major spoilers here, but I do want to show off two Pokemon that have not been seen in a video, but I confirmed this through Game Informer as their description matches the picture, and this is what Cerebi.net is showing right now. So this is Yamper. He's a little corgi, electric corgi type Pokemon. I think he looks really cool. I'm probably going to train this Pokemon. He's so cute, and I think you encounter him in the water type gym. And the other Pokemon is Impidimp. So Impidimp is a Pokemon, looks like a dark fairy type Pokemon, and I think you also encounter him in the water type gym. So as far as we know right now, that is all the Pokemon that are in Pokemon Sword and Shield as of July 8th, 2019. If any others come up, I'll be sure to try to update this list and keep a running total on what's going on. But I do want to thank you guys for stopping in and checking out the video today. I really do appreciate it. I'll be back with more Pokemon and Animal Crossing related content as soon as more information becomes available. So until then, thanks again, and I'll catch you guys on the Flippity Flip.